Awesome, Jordan. Thank you. Before we kick off and Sandy talks about what exactly Evently is, we're excited to introduce you to our team and showcase the work we've done on our event management application. So without further ado, my name is Dylan Bullock. I currently reside in Madison, Wisconsin, and I am a 8-year Army veteran.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I reside in Hyattsville, Maryland, and I am currently in the Navy Reserves.
And I'm Matt Lachey, and I live in Colorado Springs, and I'm an Army veteran.
Hi, I'm Eden. I reside in Georgia, and I am in the Army Reserves.
All right, so now we're going to go through a pre-recorded presentation of Evently. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Sandy, and today I'm excited to introduce Evently. I'll talk about what it is, what it offers, and why we decided to build it. So what is Evently? Evently is a web app that makes managing events and guest lists straightforward and efficient. Drawing inspirations from websites such as Partiful and Scalability, is designed to keep everything organized and easy for the host. So what can Evently do? You can quickly set up and manage both events and guest lists. Plus, it connects with third-party tools for location mapping and sends out email notifications to keep everyone in the loop. Now, why Evently? Our goal as a team was to streamline event planning and make it as user-friendly as possible, all while ensuring your data is secure. With features like location mapping and email notifications, we make sure that everyone stays informed and engaged, all while feeling safe and secure. In short, Evently is here to make event planning smoother and more enjoyable. And with that, I'll hand it over to Dylan, who will give you a live demo of Evently.
Thank you, Sandy. When first loading into Evently, you'll be met with a login interface that should feel familiar, as we implemented a lot with React's Material UI. I'm already a registered user, so I'll go ahead and log in now. Once logged in, you'll be met with the Evently dashboard. This is a great place to see all your current events, as well as what days you have free for future events. There are 2 ways to navigate to your events, by using the side navigation, or by simply clicking on the event itself in the calendar. Let's go check on the Urban Gardening event. In the events window, we get a more granular look at our event details such as date, location, and time. We can also see the current guests that are invited. Speaking of guests, John will no longer be in attendance, so let's remove him from the guest list. Scrolling down further is a map of the location address by way of the Google Maps API, allowing recipients to utilize directions to ensure they know exactly where they need to be. Clicking on the directions option will route the user to the Google Maps page to allow them to explore the area for things to do before or after the event. Heading back, at the top right, the profile icon allows us to log out and view our account. And the bell icon is our current notifications. In the Settings tab, we implemented color profiles and, specifically for Jordan, a dark theme. Removing an event is easy. I noticed that this Coding Bootcamp event is over as of today. Unfortunately, it doesn't need to be on here anymore. By using the Delete Event button, we'll be prompted for confirmation, and the event will be removed from our current events list. Heading back to the home page, let's go ahead and walk you through the process of creating an event for graduation and adding some guests. Let's click on the Create Event button, and here we'll fill out our form. We'll name it Code Platoon Graduation, and we can put really anything for the description. We'll put in today's date and time, and let's just add Chicago, Illinois, and then we'll click Create Event. Clicking on the new event, we have the ability to add some guests. When a guest is added, they will immediately be sent an email to ensure that they are aware of their invitation to the event. For email handling, we utilize Django's built-in SMTP capabilities tied in with a Gmail account that we created. Let's see it in action. For this demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and add myself. And then successfully added. And once we get the email confirmation, we can see that it contains our event details and it informs us that we were invited to this specific event. But that about sums it up for the functionality of Evently. Now we'll move on to Map, who will talk about some of the technologies used to make Evently happen.
Hey everyone, my name is Matt, and today I'm going to walk through the key technologies we used in our project. First, for collaboration, we use GitHub to manage our code as a team. We use Visual Studio Code to collaborate on code development, and Slack for communication. Next, for our backend, we used Django as our core framework, Python is our primary backend language, and Postgres as our database to handle storage and retrieval of events and users. Next, we used the Gmail API for notifications coming from the platform, and the Maps API to display our maps and all our users to generate directions. Next, for our front end, we used React for building our user interface. JavaScript is our backbone for our front end. And finally, for deployment and hosting, we used AWS, specifically their EC2 services to run our servers. We used Docker for containerization and Terraform to manage our configuration and deployment. And with that, I'll pass it off to Eden to talk through the challenges we encountered.
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. I'm Eden, and I will be discussing the challenges that we had and stretch goals that we like to implement in the near future. So to start off with, deployment, sizing of the EC2 instance correctly for the size of the app, and making sure that the app ran smoothly and efficiently. SendGrid API integration. Initially, we built using SendGrid API, but then we switched to an SFTP for email notifications. Authentication in JSON web token, just making sure that the user had authentication the entire session without being interrupted. And of course, we had problems with styling basic layouts and libraries. As far as stretch goals, we would like to add guest notifications, maybe add a guest field. So if the guest is attending the event or not, the event coordinator can have some type of UI interaction reflecting that. We will also like to have some type of AI powered suggestions. So if there's an event going on, it's reflected within the app, and just making sure that the application is mobile friendly. And so that concludes our presentation on Evently. On the behalf of the Evently team, I would like to thank everybody for attending our presentations, and we will be open to some questions now. Thank you.
I am going to ask the same one I asked group one. If I threw away all your code, tossed it, how would you start again today, knowing what you know now?
I think, at least for front end development, I would probably earlier on think about scalability as a bigger question, because it seems like when you're developing a UI, it's very easy to like box yourself in, especially with React with its reusable components. You can box yourself in and that component can do a specific function, but what happens when Evently needs to grow, right? Are the components like capable of being able to grow with that, or are you going to have to throw them all out and completely restructure because Evently is growing, that kind of thing? It just makes the idea of reusability a little bit different of a topic to think about.
I think for me, we ran into some issues with deployment around the size of the EC2 instance we were trying to deploy to. And I could have resolved that had I just thought through the size of the file that we were trying to run on the EC2 instance. It would have saved me a lot of time.
I think for me, I mostly worked on the back end. I think we could have spent a little bit more time drawing out what the front end was going to look like, and that way it would be easier on Dylan and the rest of the team. Because I think we built the back end first, and I think when we were doing the front end, it was more like reacting to what we already built on the back end. So definitely just spending a little bit more time, maybe drawing out what the user interface was going to be for the front end.
And for me, I think, because I also worked on the back end as well, I think knowing how the front end, maybe drive like a schematic for the front end, so that way we know how we want it to look like as well. That would probably be something that I struggle.
I know, and this goes to everybody, but Matt, I know you were kind of leading the charge on deploying early, deploying often. Do you think doing that, helped with the issue of EC2 size issues? Are you glad you deployed early, or do you think it would have been the same, or less, more complicated if you had just pushed it all at the end, and you think it would have been just as easy to figure out? Are you glad you deployed often, or no?
Yes, I'm very glad. I don't know that we would have finished had I not done it very early. And it made it really easy to test in production once it was ready, because I could just run a few lines of code and deploy again and again.
Interesting. Sounds like a very good idea to do that. Good job. Another question in chat. What was your biggest learning moment while working on Evently? I think we've tapped on this, so if you want to just kind of repeat what you said, or if there's something else that comes to mind. Biggest learning moment working on Evently.
I think for me, it was learning Terraform. It wasn't something we necessarily covered in the curriculum, and I'd had some experience with it outside of this, but just learning how to set it up and configure it was probably what I learned most with.
Yeah, I think for me, it was the authentication part. Matt helped a lot with that. I think he was kind of the driver in that. And I didn't, in my personal project, I didn't really use authentication. So that was definitely a learning curve for me.
For me, I think the biggest takeaway would be sort of this modular collaboration where each one of our team members sort of had their own delegated task and worked on that. And utilizing tools like Git and the things that they offer to help aid that and break those gaps in between like the different modules we were building.
I think for me is that since we are a team and we're working on delegated tasks, all it takes is just one person to for something to happen, and it's kind of messing everybody else up. So that's kind of, but other than that, everything else was fine.